There's a lot of mistakes that you're still making in Season 2 that is keeping you in low elo. Now, if you keep doing these 10 things, you'll be stuck there forever. So if you really want to improve and get the hell out of low elo, then this is the perfect video for you. We're going to break everything down that you need to know. But follow my educational stream in the links down below and ask me any question. And check out the Marvel Rivals Academy, 30 days of free coaching, also in the links down below. And let's get into it. Now, the first thing that you're doing wrong in Season 2 in low elo is playing the game correctly. And you're like, what the hell, Mills? So what are you talking about right now? But here's the thing. A lot of players will see high rank play, or they'll see pro play, or they'll see their favorite streamer play, and they see how a hero shooter is played, right? Tanks push forward, DPS take off angles, supports enable the DPS, and, you know, the game flows, the game functions. But the lower in elo you go, the less the game plays like a hero shooter at all, and really, you're kind of devolving into a sort of deathmatch. The problem? Tanks don't push forward and create space. DPS are basically who knows where, doing who knows what, and support players may or may not be pressing their ultimates at the same time, or not at all, who knows. So basically, the lower in elo you go, the less and less you can rely on anyone playing the game like a hero shooter. And this is really important because if you're trying to play the game like a hero shooter, it's an effort in futility and you're going to be very frustrated. You're going to be like, hey, I'm creating space. Where's my team? Hey, I'm healing you a ton. I'm healing you so much. Why aren't you doing anything? I've literally pocketed you all game. Why are you 0 and 10 on Spider-Man? Like, it happens. But the problem is you cannot rely on your teammates. They have no idea what they're doing. And frankly, neither do you, because you're trying to enable people that don't know what they're doing. And that's just, once again, you're spinning wheels, right? So what do you do? What do you do in this environment? How do you actually climb here? Well, the simple thing that you could do is get kills and don't die. This is taking it super simple, just like you would be playing in a deathmatch or a free-for-all in freaking COD. You try to get kills, you try to get limbs, you try to get final blows, and you try not to die. This is super important. And if you're playing a character that doesn't have the ability to do this, I honestly recommend playing a completely different character the lower in rank you are. There's going to be certain characters that are more pure enabling characters. So let's say like Rocket. I think Rocket is a really good enabling character. And while I think you could definitely climb on him, you're not going to hard carry a lobby on him. You're going to pocket a tank, pump up heals, enable people. You're going to res, you're inting Spider-Man, and then he's going to go int again. Like, this is going to happen a lot when you could just play another character. You could play a Luna. You could play a Mantis. You could play some other support that has the means to actually get kills and be proactive and take angles yourself and punish enemies. These are the things that you want. And then for tanks, like, if you're playing a traditional tank, like, you could play a Magneto, and I think Magneto can actually still carry if you're really aggressive with them, taking aggressive angles. But there are other tanks that I think are more free to do what they want to do. Characters like Thor are really, really good in low elo because they can go and fight people as a pseudo fat DPS. They can be very self-sufficient, and when they need heals, they can just go right back to their supports and sit on them or go to a health pack. Then they can go contest a Moon Knight or whatever and kill them. So characters that are more self-sufficient or have the means to be incredibly self-sufficient are going to be better. The more you rely on your teammates to do things for you, the harder it's going to be, and the more you can try to get kills and not die, or the more effective you can be at doing those things, the better off you are, and assume you have no one's help with you, like, at all. And I do think that as you climb more and get into higher rank lobbies, you can start to play the more hero shooter aspects of the game, and you need to learn those aspects of the game, but don't try super hard to enforce those aspects in an environment that is just not willing to play along at all. And you're just going to be really frustrated, and you're going to get stuck in a rut. And then number 2 is seeking a perfect composition. So one of the biggest complaints I get with a lot of my students and a lot of people that I coach and in the comment section is they say they are always forced to fill. They say they want to play DPS, or they want to play this character, but they always have to fill. And one of the things I'll say is, one, you're never forced to fill. I think you want to win more than you want to just lock the 4th or 5th DPS, and I think a lot of people thank you for it. I think that's important to do. But don't make it so easy if that's not your goal. Because here's the problem. If you are, let's say, in silver, right, and you really want to become a diamond or grandmaster DPS player, but every time you look at a comp and it's not perfect, it doesn't have 2 tanks, 2 DPS, 2 supports, it doesn't have the perfectly optimized support combo, it doesn't have the perfectly optimized tank combo, you're swapping. You're like, I'm not going to win this game if I lock 3rd DPS or 4th DPS here, or whatever. I'm not going to win this game. So I am just going to swap. I'm going to swap. The problem is you're going to swap too much. You're trying to seek this perfect comp. You're going to keep swapping, keep swapping, keep swapping. Guess what? You're going to climb. I promise you, you will eventually climb. But guess what? By the time you're in plat or maybe close to diamond, you're not going to be a diamond tier DPS player. You're not going to be capable of it. You're not going to be capable of carrying these lobbies because you never even gave yourself the opportunity to carry lower rank lobbies. Like if you couldn't carry lower rank lobbies and be effective in lower rank lobbies, even in compositions that aren't perfect, the comps don't get perfect in higher elo. Like they're still imperfect. And if you're trying to force perfect comps, you're either going to always be filling or you're always going to be like not as good as you could be. And so this is really important. I want you to play the characters that you want to play and try to make it work. Force it a fight. See what happens. Maybe you are that third DPS and maybe the comp isn't perfect, but try to make it happen anyways. Try to win fights anyways. It turns out that maybe you're the third DPS, right? Maybe it's not great, but if you walk out on Black Panther and kill both their supports, it literally doesn't matter what comp you're on. It doesn't matter. You could be on freaking 5 DPS for all I care. If you kill both their supports instantly by yourself, it literally does not matter what the comp is. So try to make it work. And if it doesn't work, if you tried a couple times, it doesn't work, then you can fill. You can swap. You can play whatever you needed to play to win. But give yourself the opportunity to try. And also, I think more other people are like more likely to swap too if you play a character right off the bat and you're effective. They at the very least know, okay, they're gonna fill, but they're filling for someone that has proven that they're gonna do something, right? So you proved that you could do something, they're more likely to fill for you. I think this is a better philosophy than just looking at a comp, always trying to make the perfect comp, always trying to fill and flex, and really being unhappy with it. Like if you're happy with flexing and filling, that's perfectly fine, but you can't be bitter and resentful about doing it. If you're gonna be like that, just don't do it because it's actually hurting you in the long run. And number 3, this is a really simple one that I think is super important, and it's the idea of flipping objectives. And this is kind of true from every role. A little bit more important for the tank role, but every role applies here. And the core of the message is that it is often correct to die. There are times where dying is the best thing that you could do. So let's say 3 of your teammates died and it's on payload, right? They're pushing the objective, they're pushing the cart, and you're in a situation where you can't really run away, or it's unlikely. Your goal is to die, but to die with the cart not moving. How do you do that? You walk straight to the cart, you force the enemies to kill you, so that the cart moves. This means that you're not going to get staggered. This means that you're not going to run, 10, 20 feet, 10, 20 seconds, and then die late. And then by the time you're back, your teammates are already feeding again. Like that is something that happens all the time. You need to die here. Another thing that's important is that, let's say you're playing King of the Hill, right? And you have control of the objective. While it is important to not be tied to the objective, we'll talk a little bit about that later. If the enemy team is fighting on the objective, it's really important that in a longer fight, you don't give up the objective control at all possible, unless it's for winning the fight and then you could take it right back. Because here's the problem. Let's say you're in a situation where it's like 50%, 50%, right? You have control, you're ticking it up to 60%. In a world where that fight goes on for a long time, both teams pop support ults, whatever, all of a sudden you're getting up to 70%, 80%. The enemy team will have one more fight, one more chance. You win that fight, you win the game. But on the flip side, if you flip it and the fight goes on for a really long time and then you lose, or even if you win, you give the opponent either more fights or you give yourself no fights or one fight. And it's really, really bad if this happens. I think that there's a checklist in your mind every time you're trying to go through a fight of things that you can do or things that you want to do, but things you're willing to give up and things you're not willing to give up to accomplish those things. So, I want to pressure the supports. I want to go make plays. But if the enemy team are going to take the objective, then I'm not going to do that unless the play is so juicy that it's worth it. Like, if I see both their supports 1 HP and I can walk off point and kill them, I don't care about flipping the objective. It's fine. But in most general situations where I don't really know what's going to happen, if I flip the objective, that risk is really, really high that, the fight plays out. I gave up all this percent. And when you flip an objective on Koth, you could be giving up 2 fights. You're losing your time that you would have been gaining, and they're gaining time that you would have denied. It's really, really important that you don't mess up this one thing. And number 4, this is a low elo mistake, but it's really also a high elo mistake that drives me crazy, and it's not teleporting back. So here's the thing that I've come to learn, and that I'm still learning, but it's important. Every person should learn how to use Strange and how to teleport back to a site. You don't have to be this God Strange or anything like that. You just need to know, hey, I died first in a fight. We're playing a fight, you know, it's 6v6. If I die as any character, it doesn't really matter if I have ultimate either, because I could take, you know, 50% back. But if there's a world where anyone dies, I need to be the one to swap to Strange. This means that if you're a DPS and you die, you swap to Strange. You're a tank, you die, you swap to Strange. Even if you're a support and you die, a lot of the time, you swap to Strange and you TP back and you get an entirely extra fight when you're holding an objective. This is so important, and it's something that so many players just don't do, and it's actually just free fights, like a whole additional fight that you get to have multiple times a game that no one does. And the thing that you need to do is that you just need to evaluate, should I walk back all the way from spawn here and hope and pray, or should I swap to Strange, get to come back, and then my team also all gets to come back and retouch the point? Think about that much power to just allow your entire team to refight with you and retouch the point. You're giving your entire team instant transmission back to the objective. It's just so insane, and it's something that everyone should do. Once again, just literally go into the practice room, mess around with teleporter a little bit. It's not hard to do. You literally just put it right above an objective. You jump out, you fall down. This is one of the most powerful things that you can do. And I cannot tell you how many people just don't do this. Like, so many players don't do this. Even in higher elo, players don't do this nearly enough. It's one of the most important things to learn, and there's actually no excuse to not do it. And if you know a little bit of Strange or learn a little bit of Strange, all the better. All the better, makes it even easier. Now, tip number 5, going back to objectives. Being married to objectives is extremely poor, and it's a really bad habit to be into that could actually prevent you from climbing. So one of the things I like to say is that if you control an objective, if you control a payload, or you control a king of the hill, you want to push past and off the objective. If you're just standing on cart, or if you're standing on the point, you're messing up. And here's the reason why. You want to create space in front of the objective so that when enemies want to start fighting you, you can back up relative to your advantage. Because we talk about, you know, tanks and just general people. You want to be able to push in and be aggressive when you have advantage, when the enemy's weak, when you kill people, whatever. And when you have a disadvantage, you want to be able to pull back. Or when you use cooldowns that didn't get kills, you want to be able to back up. But if you're on point, sometimes backing up means going to the edge of point. Sometimes backing up means going off point, which you just, once again, can't afford to do, which goes back to the you can't flip the objectives type stuff that we talked about in tip 3. So what does this mean? This means that you want to push up past the objective, forward, take a fight in front of the objective, take a fight in front of the cart, in front of the point. And the reason that you do this is if they start popping ultimates, they start popping support ults, they start getting advantage in some way, you have way more space to back up to the point, back up to the front of the point, back up to the back of the point, back up all the way off the objective just a little bit, and then retouch. You're basically sacrificing space here for all these abilities and ultimates, but you have the space to give because you fought them up in front. It's also super important because I've seen a lot of players like sit on cart and they don't spread out and take angles and take space, only for like a Strange to pop out of a portal right above them. Ult 5 people. If that ever happens, it's because y'all are positioned in a completely terrible spot. Or they're in a situation where they don't contest a Hela that just gets to walk around a corner and peek point. When if you were pushed up to the corners and choke points, these angles would never be available for the enemy team. Super important concept that I think is just something that everyone should start ingraining into their play. And I think because a lot of people don't do this, this is why a lot of players don't really know what to do on King of the Hill points. They get a little bit lost, but it's one of the most important fundamentals to hero shooters. And number 6, this mistake is a huge one that a lot of players are making, and I might cause some of these problems, but let me explain why. So number 6 is a loyalty to tier lists. And I know I make freaking tier lists. I make them a lot. A lot of people like to watch them, but here's the reality of tier lists. They don't really matter for most elos. Like, a lot of tier lists have to be based on something, right? We have to base it normally on high rank and pro play, because what else are we going to base it on? You know, you can't make a tier list for every single rank and every single individual. People have different mechanical sets of skills. So there are characters that are dominant on a tier list that just are not relevant for players in a low elo. So like a character like Hela, for example, or even Hawkeye. These characters are incredibly mechanically demanding. So if they're S tier on a tier list, then that would not apply to someone in low elo. So if you look at a tier list, you're like, oh, Hela's S tier, then I should play Hela every game. No. And here's the problem. When characters are not S tier on the tier list because you're in a different rank and there's different sets of mechanical skills, everything changes. Like, I think Bucky is a character that's held in check from a character like Hela. But if Hela can't be played to anywhere near the level of skill, all of a sudden the Bucky's really broken. And all of a sudden other characters really broken. All of a sudden, you know, all these strategies are different. Everything's different. And there's a lot of characters that are completely busted in low elo that are not that busted in high elo. You know, characters like Thor. I put Thor really low on my tier list. But guess what? Thor might be a top 5 best character in low elo to carry with regardless of rank, which is crazy because you think if you looked at a tier list, you would completely throw out Thor. But I'm here to tell you that I've seen players on Thor go on freaking 15 win streaks in low elo because they're insane at the character, and the character has all the tools that you need. Self-sufficient, high burst damage, kills supports, great at 1v1ing. Like, he has everything that you would need to carry in low elo. So I say all this, while tier lists are fun, I think they're fun content, they get views, blah, blah, blah. Don't take it and try to just copy it and follow it to the ends of the earth. If you just look at a tier list and you look at some of the characters that are on the low tier, you think, oh, I can't play those characters because they're bad. That's just not the case the majority of the time. Also, even the worst characters in the game on the tier list, so to speak, there are people that play those characters in top 500. So every character can work. Don't use a tier list to disregard characters you want to play. And number 7 is learn how to play your matchup. So a lot of times players will fight a certain matchup in the same way every single time. And what I mean by that is they're a certain character. Let's just say, I don't know, they're Hela. Let's go back to the Hela example. They fight every character in the same way. They see a character, they fight it the same way. They don't get closer or further. They don't, you know, flank them or play them straight up. They always play in the same way no matter what. And this is what you need to understand. Characters have strengths and characters have weaknesses, and you want to find a way to fight in your character's absolute strength and the opponent's character's absolute weakness if there is a huge discrepancy. So let's go to Bucky. Actually, I think Bucky's a really great one because there are some characters. So if I'm Bucky and I'm up against, you know, a lot of different characters, any melee character really, I'm trying to keep my range. I'm kind of trying to keep my distance because I'm effective from distances. So if they're wrapping to the right, I'm wrapping to the left. Even though it's easier for me to hit my shots if I'm closer, I want them to have to come to me. Because I can hit my abilities when they're right next to me, and they want to get right next to me because guess what? They don't do anything from range and I do. So I'm constantly trying to create separation. I'm keeping my range. I'm fighting from distance. And then when they eventually force that range, and it's harder for them to do that because I'm making it hard on them, then I can hit my abilities on them. However, if I'm up against a Hela or a Black Widow, I'm not doing anything remotely close to that. I am trying to actively flank. I'm trying to create as close of angles as possible. I'm trying to get right on top of these characters because I want to fight them from as close of range as possible, because from the far ranges, I'm very ineffective. If I'm fighting a Hela from freaking 30, 40 meters away, they're going to win that every time. If I'm fighting a Black Widow from 30, 40 meters away, I'm never winning. So I need to use my terrain to try to get in close to fight that. And so understanding that is extremely important. And it's the same way with tanks, right? If I'm Magneto and I'm playing against the Thing, I need to create as much distance as possible because I want to stay outside of his range. I want him to have to pin into me in order to get close. I want to constantly back up and play away from him because he's effective when he's right on top of me. But if I'm up against, you know, any other character, like if I'm up against like a Hela, right? I'm walking right up to her face. I'm poking her right in front of her face. I'm alternate firing her so I can hit her into a wall. Then I'm shooting her again. I'm not afraid of closing in that gap. So it's important to understand how you fight these different things. And the way to do that is to learn other character strengths, how they play in the neutral or default game, and then what you can do to create an advantage for you in that fight. Now, number 8, this is a hard one to get over, but blaming the teammates you have or the rank system as a whole. So the rank system, it has problems. I'm not going to lie. Of course, it has problems. It had problems last season. It has problems this season. And players will just keep complaining about the rank system. But I'm here to tell you that no rank system is going to hold back a good player from getting the rank that you deserve. It doesn't matter. No rank system, plus, minus, whatever. It doesn't matter. You're going to climb. If you're legitimately good enough, you will climb. And that's all you need to be worried about is, are you good enough? Can you carry? Can you climb? So a rank system is not going to ultimately hold you back from your goal rank. I guarantee that. But the second thing is blaming teammates. These are things that you can't control. You can't control, your 2 and 20 Spider-Man. You can't control that. These are all things you can't control. The rank system you can't control. Your teammates you can't control. The only thing you can control is you. The only thing that you can control is your own impact. That's all you can do. And going to the teammates thing, a lot of players will complain. I have terrible teammates. How am I supposed to climb? No one's doing anything. These players are doing this. These players are doing that. Here's the thing that you need to live by. And I live by this too. It's really important. You don't deserve good teammates until you can carry to the rank that those players are in. This is true no matter what rank you're in, right? If you have teammates that are letting you down constantly and you cannot carry into the next rank where there are good teammates there, then you don't deserve that. You don't deserve good teammates. That's just it. So like if I'm in, even if I'm in like a high elo lobby, right? And I'm like, man, I'm in a relatively high elo lobby and I think that my teammates are playing bad. Well, guess what? I don't deserve teammates that could do more than those teammates unless I can carry to the next rank where those teammates are better in. And it's always a cycle. But the ultimate takeaway is, if you are relying on your teammates to do these things that other players are doing consistently, those players that are doing those things consistently are not in your rank. They're in the next rank. That's the thing that you need to understand. If your teammates could always meet your expectations, they would not be playing alongside you. That's the reality of it. So you have to find ways that you still win, even when your teammates are letting you down. Speaking of which, number 9 is playing for winning and not improvement. So a lot of players, a lot of these bad habits we talk about come down to players only playing to win. They only want to win. So they're going to blame the system. They're going to blame their teammates. They're going to swap and fill all the time. They're going to do all these things because they're playing specifically to win every single game possible. And that's the only way they're happy. But that's a very short term. Like, you're going to get that short term happiness of the win without the long term satisfaction of being better than you were yesterday, or being better than you were, this month than last month, right? So it's really important that you're just constantly playing to get better, playing to learn. The easiest way to do that, analyze your deaths, analyze your ultimates. Every game that you lose that was a rough game, find a takeaway, something that you could have done better. Oh man, I really missed my Magneto ultimate here. Or, man, I really messed up my Bucky ult. If I would have done this and this, I would have actually got at least one reset. Or, man, I ulted when I shouldn't have ulted on support. If I would have did here or there, or, whatever. There's always something to take away. There's always something to learn. And if you're trying to only win, you're going to be frustrated, for one. And I think you're really focusing on the wrong thing that is preventing you from actually just becoming a better player. And this really leads me to the last big mistake that I think a lot of players make. And I made this mistake a lot too. A lot of y'all know that I used to be really hard stuck many hours in Overwatch. I spent, thousands of hours stuck in low elo in Overwatch. I know the struggle of playing and really being desperate to climb. Because I was like, I put so much time in now. If I don't climb, then I'm worthless. I gotta prove that I could be a high rank. Here's the reality. This is the hard truth here. No one really cares about your rank, okay? You shouldn't be connecting your worth to your rank. And I care. Like, I really want you to achieve your goals. I care about your rank. But in general, it doesn't matter what rank you are. People are not going to be like, wow, you're in that rank. This does not matter. It only matters to you. And it only should matter to you. Being better than your past self. Being better than you were yesterday. This is what matters. The battle to self-improvement. Not the I'm trying to get a status symbol type of battle, or I'm worthless if I can't get this rank. Because here's the thing, no matter what rank you get, people are going to talk shit about you, like, no matter what. I think I got like some comments that were like, man, Mills only got to Eternity because he was using Bucky, and he's, Bucky was broken, so that he just got boosted by that character. When I climbed to Eternity in Season 0, for one, and for two, now I'm a tank player in into Eternity. It's pointless. Like, no matter what you do, people will just comment some shit that doesn't make any sense to just, like, completely tear down what you have achieved. And so if you think that what you have achieved is somehow going to mean something to other people, and that's the reason to get it, I'm here to tell you that it's not. People will just say, oh, wow, you only got it on that character, not even on this character. Oh, wow, you did it duo, you didn't even do it solo. Oh, wow, you did it on console, not on PC. Oh, wow, you did it on a nice PC. You didn't even do it on a laptop. Oh, wow. Like, no matter what, man. So just it's okay to just be proud of the ranks that you get and the steps that you take. And it's okay that you are just working on yourself and getting better. And that's fine. Like, don't wrap your self-worth so tightly to ranked that you lose yourself in this whole process. That is just, it's a game that we enjoy, but it's not life, okay? So, yeah. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Smash the like and subscribe if you did. Let me know down below if there's anything else you want to talk about. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.